Hello again YouTube, and welcome back to Just Get a Tesla. And the sad news is that the Tesla Model Y is no longer available because the new Juniper is coming out. It's available now to order in the UK, but which one should you get? My buyer's guide is coming next. I am a little sad that this generation of car is now over, because this has very literally been transformational. The best-selling car in the world. So this car is important, and the new one is going to be just as big. But there are some obvious questions about, well, okay, so what spec should you get? What should you do? Can you still buy this car at the moment? Well, in the UK, the answer is only just. There's only X-Demo for the all-wheel drive, either long range or performance. For rear-wheel drive, you can still get the short range or the long range versions of those, but I'm literally counting 15 examples, just 15 cars of the short range and 23 of the long range. And I think it really is a case of just get on with it, because sales on this car have already ended for new orders. And whilst the Juniper is now in production, it's not going to be available for a while. So I'm recording this towards the back end of February. You can have a launch edition in May, but if you want anything other than that, you've got to wait until June. So the whole of the first half of this year. Now that is going to do something with regards to sales numbers, and there has been some fantastic FUD, fear, uncertainty and doubt being put about with the January sales numbers, that Tesla sales are falling through the floor and nobody is buying them. Well, I'm not denying that the numbers in January as posted are real, but they're only a snapshot of one period, and you've got to put the thing into context. In January 2025, they had already stopped making this car, which was the best-selling car that they have. So the number of vehicles is already dropping. I can tell you now, the sales numbers in February are going to look far, far worse, because they've run out. They don't have vehicles to sell. And then March, April, and for most of May, they're going to have nothing in the Model Y. So no cars at all to sell. I do have to keep moving around because of the sun, which is pretty brutal today. I'm not complaining, but it does make YouTubing quite difficult. So they have now released the prices for the car. So in the UK, the rear-wheel drive short range is available at £44,990. The rear-wheel drive long range is £48,990. The all-wheel drive long range for £51,990. And then you've got the launch edition daftness, which is £60,990, with no option yet for the performance. If you want the performance, I suggest you get the all-wheel drive long range and then put the acceleration boost on it. It's not quite as fast as the performance, but it's pretty close. There is an interesting point though. When I started looking at prices, I thought, let's just have a look at UK prices versus the European market. So let's take the Republic of Ireland as an example, our closest neighbours. So the pound to the euro at the moment is 1.20. So €1.20 to the British pound. So if you take the UK prices and then apply the exchange rate, it tells you what the car should be. So the rear-wheel drive long range, as an example, is £48,990 in the UK. Convert that into euros and it should be £58,788. But it isn't. You can get that car in the Republic of Ireland for £49,990. That is a discount of 15% versus the UK. And it's the same for the all-wheel drive long-range car. £51,990 means the price in euros should be £62,388, but it's not in Ireland. It's £52,990. And here's the thing. In Ireland, the rate of VAT, the sales tax, is 23%. It's 20% in the UK. So in Ireland, they're paying more tax and they're still getting the cars cheaper. Does anyone know why that is? And I did see some posts saying, look at the prices in Germany, they're having to give them away. No, it's the same prices in Germany. Basically, we're paying a lot more in the UK because reasons. But if you go into most of the European countries, it's essentially the same price. The odd little variation here and there, but Germany is by no means cheaper than anywhere else. Here's the buyer's guide. Here's what I would get if I was going to be ordering a Juniper right now. And if you keep watching, I'm going to tell you why I'm not doing. There is an important twist to the tale. Keep watching. So the first one for me is range. I absolutely need the long range car because I do quite a lot of trips up and down the country. If that isn't you, and you're going to be charging the car at home almost all of the time and not really needing public charging, there's nothing at all wrong with getting the standard range car. You've then got a choice of the rear wheel drive long range versus the all wheel drive long range. And I have said in the past that the rear wheel drive long range, I think, is now the sweet spot in the range. It gets you more range, you can go further because you're not carrying a few hundred kilos of additional motor around. That in itself is beneficial. It doesn't accelerate quite as quickly. It can't do because it's not got the power of the front motor there as well. But in my own testing, 90% of the time it's rear wheel drive, even if you have the all wheel drive car. So 90% of the time, this car that I'm sat in, which is all wheel drive, isn't all wheel drive. In practice, it's rear wheel drive. Despite the fact that I enjoy the acceleration that I get from this car, if it was me ordering it now, I would be getting the long range rear wheel drive.
The only caveat to this is that the rear wheel drive standard range and rear wheel drive long range cars have the standard audio system, and the long range all wheel drive is now the only option that gives you the premium audio system. The difference between that, 9 speakers on the standard system versus 15 and a subwoofer on the premium system. Whether it's worth the additional £3,000 is up to you.
And instead of spending the £3,000 on a front motor, which I'm not going to be using most of the time, I'd spend the money on paint. Why would I spend it on paint? Well, how can I put this? I went for the free colour when I ordered this car in 2022 because it was pearlescent white, and I like pearlescent white. I have had other cars previously which were both flat white and then the pearlescent white, and pearlescent white looks fantastic. My only issue with it is that everybody got the pearlescent white because it was the free colour. Well, that's not the case anymore. If you order the Tesla Model Y Juniper, the free colour is stealth grey. And I'll be honest with you, I don't like grey cars, and I have had grey cars. I just don't think a dark grey car is for me. Then you start looking at some of the other shades available. Pearlescent white, obviously, yay. And then you've got black. Well, again, I've had black cars. I don't particularly like black cars, but I know a lot of people do. You've got the new silver colour, which does look really smart. When you see it in the metal, it's quite a deep silver. It's not a lighter silver like I've had previously when I had silver cars. It really does look quite special. But for me, the colour that looks the most special of all is the ultra red. When I first saw that on the Model 3 Highland, I just thought, oh wow, that looks spectacular. And it absolutely does on the new Model Y Juniper. And here's the thing. I've been a little bit of a skeptic about the light bars, and I'll be honest, they are growing on me. And I've been told definitively, repeatedly, that if you see the car in the metal, it looks better than all of the pictures in the video. So, okay guys, fine. I can't wait to see it. I honestly want to be blown away by it. But a red light bar on a red car, that looks quite cool. So I definitely would spend the £2,600 on the ultra red. I saved £3,000 by not getting the all-wheel drive. I'm spending most of it on paint. Then we come to the wheels. The interesting thing now is that the 20-inch wheels are saying that they're going to have the same range as the 19-inch wheels. Previously, there was a penalty to pay if you went for a bigger wheel. So would I spend £2,100 on the new wheels? And the answer is no, because I'm just paranoid now about getting wheels curbed. And I think that happens to an awful lot of people looking at the comments that you get on various forums. So personally, I would keep the 19-inch wheels, and I would just fit some more rim protect covers like the ones on my car from EV Base. Other wheel covers are available, but I like the fact that I can refresh the look by changing the covers. It's a nice, relatively cheap way of making the car look different. So personally, I'd keep the standard wheels. I don't think there's a ride quality difference now anymore. From what I read, the suspension geometry has been improved. So on 20s, it'll probably ride just as well as it does on the 19s, but I'd get the smaller wheels. The next bit is the color of the interior. So black versus white. They only give you two choices, but at least they give you choices. Now, I've had black interiors on most of the cars that I've had. Not because that's my preference. I actually think I like colour interior, like say on Volvo, can look spectacular. It's just that it's never really been an option on the individual cars that I've been getting. Yes, I could have spec'd this Model Y with a white interior, but I didn't, and I would make the same choice again with the Juniper. I'd go for a black interior, and it's for the simple reason of I don't like white seats. And the next option you can choose is autopilot. So here is the point where I'm shooting videos out of sequence. So this video is going to go live on a Tuesday, and at the time it goes live, there is still going to be 2 more weeks worth of main Friday videos that have already been shot and edited before I've even started recording this. So I've gone through 50,000 miles now on this Tesla Model Y, and only at 50,000 miles have I decided to upgrade from basic autopilot to enhanced autopilot. And yes, I will confess, I have spent the credits that I have got from referrals for people who have used my code to save themselves some money on a new Tesla. Thanks so much for your support, guys, although of course I am going to be videoing how I get on with EAP. There is a video coming up in a couple of weeks where I test full autopilot capability on a Model 3, and then I make some decisions at the end of that video about which of the different variations on autopilot would I prefer. I decided EAP, which is what this car now has. And the reason for having EAP over basic autopilot for me are if you need summon, right? If you need to be able to shunt the car forwards and backwards, if you need auto park because you're not very good at parking, or you'll just like to see the steering wheel spinning around, or if you do lots and lots of miles on motorways and want the navigate on autopilot feature, then £3,400 gets you features which you could argue should have been on the car to start with, but either way, it will get you those. There is no benefit at all in going for full self-driving capability anywhere outside of North America, because FSD capability is not FSD capability. Again, watch that video in a couple of weeks when it comes out. So I would spend the £3,400 on enhanced autopilot. So I've just told you what spec I would get for the new Model Y Juniper, and looking at it, it looks solid on paper. But, and it's a big but, do not order the Tesla Model Y Juniper today. And there's a very good reason why. Let's be brutally honest about it. Most cars bought today are bought on finance. And unless you've got 50 grand sat in the bank, or you've got most of the 50 grand sat in the bank, getting finance through the manufacturer is the way to go, because a lot of commercial car loans from banks don't go to 50 grand. Here's the problem. If you were to order the replacement for this car today, the interest rate they want to charge you, this is Tesla, is 9.0% at the time that I'm recording this. 9.0% versus the UK interest rate of 4.5%. If you were to order a Model 3 Highland from Tesla, the finance rate on that is 2.9%. 2.9% for a Model 3 versus 9.0% to replace the Model Y. That is a massive difference, and it's going to make for quite an expensive difference to your monthly payments. And I have had a look, and again, at the time of recording, that is on PCP, it's on hire purchase, you name it, it's 9.0%. And it's just not a good deal today, unless you've got cash. But here's what you should do. Keep an eye on it, because how can I put this? Tesla are known for changing their finance deals and for changing even the list price of the cars. They're always doing deals on the cars. Even since I started researching this video, and that is on what, Thursday, and today is Saturday, the rate has already dropped from 9.9% down to 9.0%. So what I suspect is that Tesla are going to slash the interest rates for the replacement for this car, and suddenly you're going to be able to get a Model Y Juniper for a lot less than 9% interest. So I think the Juniper is going to be a fantastic car. It's going to sell in huge numbers, and I'm really excited to test drive it when they're available. But I wouldn't order one today, because I am not going to pay 9% interest on the finance to get one. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? What deals have you had? I know some people have had some amazing finance deals with Tesla. Other people have complained about just missing out on good finance deals with Tesla. What deals have you had? What would you be prepared to pay? And let's have a discussion about it. I love the car, but I'm not paying 9% interest. And that's it, guys. If you've ordered one already, tell me what you've ordered in the comments. If you are one of the many people all around the world who watch this channel, what deals are available for you guys? And I'll see you back here very soon and just get a Tesla.